Alrighty, welcome everyone to another episode of the Big Brain MMA podcast, episode 6. No Fimbul again, but he's promised me next week he's coming back. He's coming back strong. He's grinding already. Just one second. All right, the beauty of going live. Sorry about that. Yeah, so he'll be back next week. He's just watching some tape already. PFL, Bellator next week. So getting excited about that. I'll be doing a full card breakdown today. So we'll get straight into it. Alrighty, first fight, Edwards versus Pasqual. I thought I missed out on an early line on Edwards, but upon tape, I probably still wouldn't play her as a favorite here. I mean, she's moving up to 145. She's a lot more athletic. Pascal's not a good fighter, man. She's really bad. Even though she's a bit older, she is improving ever since she's changed her training arrangements. But yeah, I mean, she used to be a soccer mom. Now she's just a bit less of a soccer mom. Edwards is at least a lot more athletic, explosive. When she lets go, she's got those really nice hooks. Pascal is suitable. She can tag her up. I see a lot of people saying she can get taken down. She can. Her takedowns are horrendous. But, I mean, I hit her against Wu in her debut. I think it was Pick'em. Just because I thought Wu was going to take her down, but then maybe get submitted, and she almost did, or get reversed. She's kind of tricky with her reversals. She does, like, from mount, she does that thing where she gets her legs all the way under the opponent's arms and then ends up on top. So this is just a low-level women's fight. Pascal's entries are really bad as well, like just horrendous. Just bends at the waist, shoots in from far out. Her best entries I've ever seen were actually versus Nunes. But that could be because, she was getting pieced up and it was kind of like the flight or flight and she was just diving really low. But when she overthinks it, they're just very bad entries. So I don't know. I don't want to risk my money on here. If I was going to play, I would play Pascal, small decision. She is gritty. She's gritty and durable. I liked what I've seen against Nunes. Like, Nunes can crack. I played Nunes there. Even though he was juiced, I just thought she's much more proven fighter. She's gritty, so it's probably going to be a decision, or I can even see Edwards armbarring her from guard. It's just, don't want to waste too much time on this. It's a risky proposition putting your money on it, so pass for me. All right, next we've got another crapshoot of a fight. This one might have some potential plays in it. Liang is a glass cannon when it comes to submissions. She will either get the sub or she will get absolutely run through. She'll gas. She's got about 5 minutes of cardio. I really don't rate her submissions. Like, I know people are thinking Juarez is going to get subbed here, but it's upon tape, or when you tape it originally, and when I taped her in her debut, she's very sloppy. Her arm bars. I mean, I watched her versus Agapoa. She shot 1 million arm bars, and she couldn't stick any of them. They're not tight. She just shoots them up there. Anyone who does jiu-jitsu knows you have to control the posture. You can't just shoot up, otherwise you'll get past easily. Against Carnelosi, she was just getting shucked to the side. Just shooting up for the sake of shooting arm bars. Right? You got to set it up. You got to control the body, control the arm. The arm bar that Juarez got caught in by Demopoulos and even by Lupi, the technique is 10 times more advanced than Lee. I mean, she was the one she got on, the one that Demopoulos got. She had an overhook straight away, and then that's how she set it up. So she had her trapped in there. She wasn't going anywhere. As for the Lupi, I mean, Lupi almost got Carolina with that armbar as well. She's really good at it. And in that fight, Juarez kept standing up. Lupi took her down multiple times, and she got up straight away. I was like, oh, this is kind of impressive. So Juarez is the better fighter. I mean, I initially taped Liang because I thought it was wide. when it was $2.50, and I still wasn't hitting it at that price. I'm definitely not going to hit it now, just because I think if she doesn't get the sub, she will fall apart. And I don't want to play the dog. If I'm going to play a dog that their best chance is a round one sub, I'm just going to sprinkle the round one sub for better odds. And then it's the second fight of the night. There'll be potentially a live bet if he gets out of round one. It should be Juarez's fight from there. She'll pick her apart, calf kick. She hits quite hard. She dropped Lipsky. She dropped Demopoulos. If Demopoulos didn't have an insane chin, she would have just got put out cold there, which is pretty impressive. The unders are ridiculous on this fight. I mean, if he doesn't go under, it will probably be thanks to Juarez just sticking and moving and calf kicking and then being safe, not jumping in the guard, just not wanting to risk getting submitted again. And I can see it maybe going to a decision, but I'll be very, very surprised. So in this fight, I mean, I've even seen Juarez end up in deep armbars on regionals against Cans, but she's actually much better at getting out. She stacks, she's composed. I mean, Liang could improve. Maybe she's got better jiu-jitsu. She's only 26 now. She was 25 in her debut. But I mean, I watched her fights from 3 years ago against that Chinese chick that had lost to Silva on Contender, and she couldn't submit her either. Just kept throwing up arm bars, and then she got submitted by her as well. That was 4 years ago now, and her UFC debut, she was exactly the same, just wild and gassed. She was about to be finished in round one, end of round one. She barely got to a stool. So it's depending. I still don't have odds on this fight. I don't know why. It's a bit ridiculous. Props, I mean. So depending on what the props are, you probably have to sprinkle a little bit. Liang by sub round one, and then I'll even look to play Juarez straight, and then use that as a hedge. But I think sprinkle sub round one, and then just go from there. Potentially a live bet it if he gets out of round one. All right, what do we got next? All right, so Kang. We got Kang and Batgarel. Batgarel coming in on short notice. This is one of two fights where I see some people that I respect on the dog, and after tape, I just can't do it. What I noticed with Kang is he's very hittable. I don't know if he's improved that, but against Ishihara, he got dropped badly. He came in there swinging bombs. He got dropped badly, and then he got the takedown, and then he started working his ground game in jiu-jitsu. Against Guido, he got hurt. Then he went for the takedown, and it's like, oh man, this guy is not the type of guy that you want to bank on not getting knocked out by Danaa. He's so hittable. But then against Ping Yuan Lu, he just came out there and had a three-round grapple fest. And it's like, okay, maybe he knows how to use his wrestling. Maybe he knows how to fight smart. But that fight went to a split decision. It's because he did absolutely nothing with his top control. And I mean, Lu's far from a UFC level fighter. Dana's a UFC fighter. He's proven that. Might not be amazing, but he's got wins. And then against Yaha, obviously he was picking up Rani, but picking him apart. But I mean, that's Yanni. It's kind of a fight that doesn't have any relevance. Dana against Gutierrez, I mean, he did it right in the first. He couldn't really corral him, and he couldn't get his striking off. But again, Kang is someone that's nowhere near as evasive. He's got a wide stance. He's planted. He's always looking to throw the 1-2 down a pipe and a teep kick. He fights long, which is good, but he's just there. He's there to be hit. And yes, he might go for takedowns. He might take Dana down. I mean, Dana did okay with his takedown attempts against Alatang, who I think is a better wrestler. But he did succumb to it eventually in round 3. But it was a close fight up until then. I think he's improved since then as well. It's just, I mean, if I was forced to play it, I guess, I don't know. I can see the value on Kang at $2.30. I mean, with the takedowns, he's gone 3 rounds. He's won fights against Davis where it was 1-1. And going into the third, he wrestled and he won the third, but he still went to a split decision. So he's a proven fighter. He's got the grappling upside. You know, if Dana doesn't knock him out, how is he going to look? There's not much. I mean, whenever he goes over round 1, he seems to lose in the UFC. but I just can't. The odds are not crazy enough on Kang, and now it's even narrower. I would rather just play Danaa here, but then I've got those worries how bad he looked against Gutierrez. You know, he kind of gassed a bit, but he gassed from chasing, and he seemed like he wanted to knock him out. So I don't have the best read. I guess it would be probably favourite to pass for me, but yeah, he's just tough. Just Kang's too hittable for me. Too hittable. I don't think he's going to finish Danaa when he takes him down. Danaa could even take him down. He's got underrated wrestling. He slammed Chris at the end of round 1. So yeah, unfortunately, this is the odds have narrowed. So people are obviously putting money on it, but I can't do it. I have to pass. And this is one of 2 fights that I'll be passing that are similar. And yeah, the second one is right after it. Go figure. So pretty much same odds. Jake is a $2.30 favorite. It's a bit more narrow now. This is the one where everyone in the dog is on Jake Mathews. So, you know, take that first. I always like to see what people are seeing before the odds drop, and I just left feeling the same way. You know, favorite or pass. I don't know. I can't trust Jake Mathews. Jake Mathews, he's just he gasses really bad. He's in round 3. I know everyone's saying that about Fialho, but I feel like what's happening is people are really underestimating the level of competition that Fialho has had on the regionals. Obviously, he's gassed on the regional, he's lost on the regionals, he's been finished, and people are taking that and saying, "Oh, this guy doesn't deserve to be a favorite." Meanwhile, you got Jake that's struggling in the UFC with low-level competition, and people are just they're not acknowledging that. You know, one guy struggling against Chidi and Chukwuani. Who else has he fought? Curtis, Franca. Franca's a much better grappler and fighter than Jake Mathews, in my opinion. Went to PFL after tough. Should have never been cut. If Fialho's fighting all these fighters, and he's only a year younger than Jake, and he's a young guy, and he's improving, and people are shitting on him, saying, you know, oh no, it's Jake's. Everyone's on Jake for some reason. So he's fought Franca, he's fought Curtis. Curtis was like 3 years ago. He was like 23 years old. Chidi. Antonio Dos Santos Jr. and LFA, that's maybe a bad loss. James Vick, Stefan Sekulic right after he got cut from the UFC. And then he ends up with Pereira and Baeza. And obviously Van Camp is crap, but whatever. Pereira, Baeza, I mean, who has Jake beaten recently on his run that's better than Pereira and Baeza? Like Sean Brady, I see a lot of people saying he's gone to a close fight with Sean Brady. But it's like, I don't even rate Jake, and I played Jake against Sean Brady. Brady is the guy that got pieced up by Chiesa. That's how bad his striking is. So I thought, no doubt, Jake is going to put it on Brady early. So you can't really look at that fight. And he's still quitting that fight. Still got submitted, finished. He's also a black belt, and Brady just looked levels above him in grappling. I also see people saying, yeah, sure, he's gonna take Fialho down. I mean, who submitted Fialho? As far as I know, he doesn't have a submission loss. Yeah, he can be taken down. In that Franca fight, he got taken down, and he survived. And in round 2, he just started piecing Franca up. It was a draw because it was a 2-round fight in PFL. But it was just landing bombs on Franca. Just even though he's a little bit gassed, he's just got that grit. He will push forward. To me, he's the more proven fighter. Even though Jake's been in the UFC forever, I mean, look at Jake's run, man. Shinzo Hanzai, Akman, Meek, Diego Sanchez. If you can't knock these people out, how are you going to knock out Fialho? Fialho gets rocked. Yes, I'll give him that. But he gets rocked because he pressures and he has a high guard because he's looking to counter. And he's not getting dropped. I mean, he's hitting bombs from Baeza, who hits very hard. Van Camp hit him clean and he wobbled him. But I mean, 30 seconds later, he's putting Van Camp out cold. And that's because he has that composure. He's always ready to throw back in the pocket. Whereas Jake Mathews, he's just head down, skirts on the outside, really low volume, head down, and then he blitzes in with the left, overhand right, overhead left. He looks down at the ground. He's just live to eat a clean uppercut and get put out cold. And he's just never improved. His striking is always the same. And always the same. He can get an explosive takedown. But then, what happens after that? The more takedowns he gets, he gasses out. He lost round 3 to Meek. That Rustam fight, man, Rustam is horrendous. He should have not been in the UFC. He threw like 15 strikes in 3 rounds. And Jake was happy just to do nothing, just to circle around and win the most boring decision ever. Like, he's not going to have that with Fialho, because Fialho's going to pressure him. He's going to put it on him. He's going to land bombs. He might eat bombs and he might get taken down, but he will get up. Pereira took him down, and he just got up and he just kept coming. For someone that gasses, Fialho, he didn't give Pereira an easy fight in round 3. So I just think he's more gritty. Don't want to play him at these odds. It's tough. It's just like another Dana Kang fight. I don't know if I can, because Jake has almost rocked pretty much every single person. I mean, he's rocked Martin in the first round, like Anzai, Lee, Meek, Diego Sanchez, Brady. His life to drop almost every single person in round 1, and we've seen Fialho get rocked by 3 fighters in a row in the UFC now in the first round. So I think it's just another fight where the line is accurate. Fialho should be this favorite, slight favorite, maybe more. I don't know if I can play. Ideally, I'll probably just play live. I'll play live bet. Fialho might have a rough round 1 where he gets taken down, maybe gets hurt, wobbled. We get better odds, and then people hammer Mathews because it's all downhill from here. Fialho's going to gas, but I think Fialho's going to be the one that's going to keep coming forward. He's proven to be tougher, more grittier. Mathews is just mentally he's weak. He should have been cut from the UFC. I was there when he got a robbery against Bojan Miličković. That should have been his 3rd loss. Instead, Bojan got cut. Yeah, I mean, if Jake is going to finish him, he will be by cracking him and then jumping on a guillotine. But I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. So Bet365 has opened up some good double chance props, and Fialho double chance KO or decision, pretty much his only path to victory, is plus money. So I mean, make of that what you will. I might be on that. But yeah, at the moment, I think it's another accurately lined fight, and unfortunately, even though the whole world is a Mathews, I'm going to have to pass. Favorite or pass for me, actually. What do we got next? All right. Mahashate versus Garcia. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about this one. Garcia probably should win. I mean, he's a proven fighter here. He's got wins in the UFC. He's very aggressive. His wins outside of UFC not bad either. Jose Mariscal, that's impressive. Mahashate, there's just no tape on him. I mean, he got wrestled by a Russian fighter 2019 when he was like 19 years old, and that Russian fighter is now 5-1, so he's pretty decent. He did good to just keep scrambling, getting up. He also seems durable. He was eating some bombs against Achilles on Contender Series, and then he just came back. I liked his attitude. I liked how composed he was. He seems to be a lot more technical than Garcia. Garcia is just, I mean, I'm yet to see a fight where he wasn't super aggressive. Just keeps coming, maybe even to a fault, because he gets cracked. He gets taken down easy and backpacked by Luis Pena just because he just comes forward. He's got no composure. Maybe he finishes Mahashate without aggression. He's finished a lot of fighters. He just doesn't stop coming. Maybe Mahashate just knocks him out because he's just a lot more cleaner, technical. Maybe Garcia just grapples him for 3 because he's got that wrestling that he can use. But I mean, I'm getting pulled towards multiple options. Mahashate has a dog in Singapore. These Asians usually come through in their home continent. And Garcia as a favorite. I mean, he's finally got someone that's 6 foot, that can maybe match his size a little bit. So even the under, I can't hit the under, even though Garcia finishes most people. He's just, I don't know. Mahashate seems like a really durable guy. So I have to exercise my discipline bone here and just pass, because due to lack of footage, unfortunately. Choi versus Culibao. I mean, this fight, first impression is this fight has to be wide. I thought I would be on Culibao. See some people hitting him, even though the odds are going the other way. But I can't hit him just because his wrestling is horrendous. He's actually an underrated fighter, Culibao. Like, he had a lot of hype on the Australian scene. He was finishing everyone either by KO or submissions. So he can crack, and he's got a decent jiu-jitsu game, but he's wrestling, man. He's like 0-6 in takedowns against Jordan, and Jordan is just, if you're gonna take someone down, it's gonna be Jordan. I mean, and it's not just against good wrestlers. Even Julian Erosa was throwing Jordan around, man. So Culibao, just his penetration, his shots, his finishing doesn't seem the greatest, and that just means he's gonna have to most likely have a 3-round striking battle against Choi, which, it's a tall task. I think even then it's wide, because Choi, I mean, yes, he's a good striker, and he's got a lot more explosiveness and a lot more speed. Whereas Culibao sticks on the outside and he's technical. He looks to leg kick you, throw the 1-2 back out again. He's a lot more defensively sound. Whereas Choi, he's just come forward, pressure, throw fast combinations in the pocket, and he will get tagged because he doesn't move his head in the pocket. Sumon Mokhtarian, which is a really bad fighter, he's from Australia as well. He's just crushing cans in the regionals. He cracked him in round 3 and wobbled him, backed him up. And luckily, Sumon's an idiot, went for a takedown, and Choi got on top, allowed him to recover. But yeah, in other fights, I'm seeing Teixeira's cracking him. He's just in there, and he's always swinging. But it's in the early goings, it's so hard to deal with because he's so long and he's so good at striking. And someone as unathletic as Culibao, he's just gonna have to back up on the outside, and just deal with that speed and length, and kind of like the Zalal fight. Zalal is really good at circling left and right and avoiding everything, but he's not really winning the fight if he's constantly backing up. Although Culibao hits a lot harder, and I think he's a lot better of a striker. And I think he's underrated because he's unathletic. You don't see those things. But I mean, he's outstriking people like Jordan just by being evasive, and he's just waiting for that shot. And then when he cracks him, he drops him, and he steals rounds like that. But yeah, it's just tough to see him stealing rounds against Choi when Choi is going to be the one that's going to have the eye-catching shots and the explosive shots. I think it's wide, but yeah, I just might have to leave it. But also, Choi is not trustworthy, man. He's just that Caceres fight. He's doing fine, and then he didn't even get taken down. He just like overextended, and Caceres got to his back and then checked him out. It was just like not even a takedown. So I'd had this impression that he was young and inexperienced, but he's almost 30 years old, so he might just be close to a finished product. He might just be a one-dimensional striker. So in terms of the money line, it's a pass fight for me. Maybe a live bet after round 1, because Choi usually has the best round in round 1, and then maybe Culibao is still there and he starts taking over. But I think over is good here. Culibao is very durable. That Jalen Turner fight, moving up weight class on short notice, he was taking some bombs, and he was never actually hurt until he sprained his ankle or did his groin. Can't remember which one it was. And even then, he survived the deep guillotine, the rear naked choke. We've seen Turner instantly submit like the last 2-3 fighters. Even Medic. It's just like as soon as you get hurt by Jalen Turner and you go to the ground, he finishes you. And even someone really durable like Malaki, he just ran through him in round 2. And Culibao was taking it. In the end, he took an injury and just took him getting flattened out and eating unanswered shots against the bigger guy to get stopped. So I think, Choi can crack, but maybe he drops him. And Culibao is very evasive. He can recover and just keep running away. I think the over is 1.7. It's almost pick 'em. So as much as I don't like over-unders, I like that. If I'm going to play anything, and if you get a close decision, you win your money either way. But you don't have to play juice or try guess. It would be good to see what Culibao is going to look in this fight, get a bit of more an idea on him. But he looks like a very well-rounded fighter. Like his takedowns are not the best, but he had really good takedown defense against that Chinese wrestler. So I'll move on from here. The over is the play for me, but hopefully some live bet options in the money line. All right. Brendan Allen versus Malkoun. Mr. Trustworthy. Brendan Allen. I don't know if I don't know. I do know. I definitely don't trust Allen at these odds. I can see the take that he should run through Malkoun. This is a step up for Malkoun. Allen, I can still see Allen being a top 15 ranked fighter in the future, but you can't trust Allen at these odds. I mean, the way he's lost his fights, they just, even on the regionals. I mean, he got out grappled for 5 rounds by Fluffy. He got out grappled by Eric Anders. Eric Anders, come on, man, the guy's an awful wrestler. Obviously, he was much younger then. There was a bit of a physicality difference. But Anders didn't take him down. Anders didn't take him down. Allen would jump on his back and then he would fall off and he would jump for guillotines. And that's the reason why you can't play him. He still does that stuff. He does that stuff in the UFC and he gets away with it because of his aggression. He gets subs against not the best fighters. But Malkoun is going to invite that. If you go for a guillotine on Malkoun and you don't get it, Malkoun wants to be on top. And the longer this fight goes, Allen is still doing the same stuff. He's still got the same weaknesses. I ended up, I wasn't planning on taping that much of Allen's career, but I just ended up looking at his losses and, he still hasn't fixed the stuff. Maybe he's fixed his striking a bit, but his losses against Anders and Hernandez, he still hasn't fixed that stuff. Against Holland, he's fallen off the back. He's going crazy, searching for leg locks, heel hooks. Tom Breeze as well. His wrestling's not the best either. He will get the body lock and then he will drop down for heel hooks. Carl Darkis, that was a close fight. He's lucky that he kept hurting Dorcas. Otherwise, he was dropping for guillotines. Had his back taken for all around 3. Sean Strickland, he just chose to strike with him, got knocked out. Carl Robertson is lucky. Robertson is an idiot. Soriano, he outstruck Soriano, but Soriano, very gassy himself. Curtis, again, he jumped on Curtis's back, fell off. And he also went for a heel hook. Not even a heel hook, a straight ankle lock. Like, these are the things you can't play a juiced favorite on fighters that make these decisions. That's just, they're not thinking smart. They're in the heat of the battle, they're going to lose you money by doing stupid shit like that. And Malkoun's complete opposite. He's just going to shoot and he's just going to maintain position, whereas Allen is submission over position. Maybe he subs him. Yeah, Allen could sub him because it's been working for him. That aggression is what gets him a lot of subs. And maybe Malkoun hasn't seen a grappler like that so far. And, instead of the Razak and AJ being really defensive, Allen catches him. But yeah, I mean, if that's the case, maybe just play Allen by sub. But yeah, he's not reliable. He's not reliable. Even Sam Alvey, I was loading up to play a live bet against Sam Alvey because I was like, man, Allen is giving me flaky vibes. He just keeps walking into the left hook from Alvey. He couldn't take Alvey down. And then just getting ready to live bet it, he cracked Alvey. So that's the danger, I guess. He's got all the finishing upside on Malkoun, and Malkoun couldn't bust a grape. But if this goes longer, maybe round 2, and especially round 3, and you've got the old Allen come out, diving for the guillotines, diving for straight ankle locks, and Malkoun consistently grappling, he's going to be the value side. If you're going to play him, decision on Bet365, decision is paying $10 on Malkoun. But it's just how disciplined do you want to be? You might play that and then Allen submits him early. I think the safe bet is live bet again. I know I keep banging on about live bets, but it seems to be like good spots these last few weeks on pretty much everything we've called in terms of live bets. Malkoun usually has a bad round 1. Not against Razak, but against AJ. AJ stuffed all his takedowns. Allen's not going to have that much resistance. Allen loves going to his back. And then he just takes over round 2 and 3. And I even noticed in the Razak fight, even though he took down Razak in round 1 and won round 1, he was still an underdog on the live line. I missed out on that because I was an idiot. But he's probably going to have a bad round 1 against Allen. Allen's going to come in aggressive, looking for heel hooks. Even if Malkoun gets a takedown, he's probably not going to be able to settle on top because there's going to be a lot of scrambles. Allen can get sweeps. He's really good with the omoplata sweep. And then, Allen might be a little bit more tired and you get decent dog odds on Malkoun, but now you got an idea that, okay, Malkoun won't get submitted. He can survive. And maybe that's when you put the live bet on. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Probably maybe put $100. I'll actually put $100 on Malkoun by decision because, it's not even a 0.01 unit bet. And I'm getting $900 profit. So it's a no-brainer. And then if he's looking good, then I'll put more on Malkoun live because he potentially will be still an underdog. All right, what do we got next? Smashing through this today. All right, Jack Della versus Emeev. This is a good fight. I really like Jack. Jack has got a lot of hype. I'm surprised there's this much hype on an Australian fighter. I've been watching his career, being from Australia myself. He's improved. This is a fighter that has improved a lot, and you see improvements fight to fight. Right, he's only 25 years old. He's avenged one of his losses. I mean, his first two losses were in his first two fights in 2016, so 7 years ago. So he was like 18 years old. And his first loss to Alden Bates, he avenged. It was his last win before Contender, and he sparked him with a nice pull counter, sparked him out cold in 1 minute. Right, and Alden Bates, I know Alden Bates. Alden Bates, he fought my best friend in his pro debut and my best friend's pro debut, and he broke my best friend's jaw. So Alden Bates was 26, and he was fighting my 20-year-old mate, and he's just like this jacked, Jamaican dude from London, and he sparked him. And then a couple of fights after that, he fought 18-year-old Jack and sparked him in round 3 as well. And he didn't even spark him; he was ground and pound in round 3. So this Alden Bates has he's like an adult, grown male on the regional scene in Australia, just knocking out kids, 20 and 18-year-olds. But anyway, Jack sparked him in the rematch. But yeah, I think this is. I got the early line on Jack. I pick him, and I just finished taping that. I left that till the last because obviously I locked my line in. There's no rush, and yeah, I think I'm going to keep it. I mean, I can see the avenue where there's no value now, and probably there isn't. I think Jack should be a slight fave, maybe even $1.70 favorite. But Emeev is not impressive. Emeev, yeah, it's a step up, but like I said, you see consistent improvements from someone like Jack in fights, every single fight, right? Emeev's flat-footed, doesn't check kicks. On the other hand, Jack does check kicks. I mean, I don't know how much that's going to come into it. I just noticed he's really good at checking even body kicks. Emeev is flat-footed, and he will get leg kicked, so it's important with him. Low volume. I mean, if you look at, it's just Emeev, he's got a great record, but he's just really fraudulent record for a Russian. I think if you look at Emeev's wins, they're either all flakes, they're not UFC level caliber fighters, or they've been cut. Right. So Sekulic, I mean, he beat him, but he's been cut from the UFC and he's low output, right? He's probably one of the better Serbian fighters, but just too low output, right? Rocco Martin, he lost the low output striking battle to Martin in Russia. Come on, man, that doesn't happen. That was even before the Ukrainian bullshit. If Martin can't get off the calf kick, he's not the same fighter, and his gas is bad and he's low output. And Emeev just stood there and got shut down in his own hometown, and it wasn't even a split decision, right? Stolze, I mean, he almost got knocked out by Stolze in round. That was a unanimous. I thought that was going to be a split. I had money on Emeev by decision, and I was just sweating, absolutely sweating. On the regionals, Stolze can't defend a takedown to save his life. He lost to Brazier off his back, just couldn't get up, just kept looking for subs. We've seen what Benoit did to him, just ran through him. And here's Emeev, can't hold him down, just struggling with him, right? He hits a big knee round 1. If he doesn't have such a good chin, round 1 KO, what odds are we getting on Emeev now? All right, even bigger dog. And then he goes against Zawada, another guy that he wants to be on his back. He looks for submissions, not the best striker, cut from the UFC. And Emeev's, getting cracked by him. He's getting a leg kicked by him. Can't hold him down. He's getting taken down by himself. He's blowing heavy out of his mouth after round 1. So I see the aspect of, Jack still got some cardio problems, getting taken down. But Emeev doesn't have cardio, excellent cardio either, and that's with low volume, right? So I can see it's a step up, but I don't know. I think it's at Pick'em, there's some value, right? And then Danny Roberts. I mean, what do I say about Danny Roberts? Flaky, chinny, really stupid guy, right? I hit Danny Roberts there as a massive dog. You have to. It's going to go to a split decision. It was like $3.75. I thought I lost that fight, but the point is the judges gave it to Roberts because Emeev does nothing, right? He went for a couple of subs in that fight, and Roberts was good scrambling out. I noted that on tape. I think Jack is also a really, really good scrambler. He's a brown belt. He's got good sweeps, good get-ups. He doesn't sit on the ground. But yeah, just there's nothing. If Roberts wasn't so stupid and consistently clinched, he would have won a unanimous. But he just, I guess that was baked into his underdog line. He just kept clinching him. He kept clinching. He should have just outstruck him. But even then, he still won that fight. So you got Jack coming up against Emeev, who's gassy, who's flat-footed, who his entries are not good sometimes. He doesn't have blast doubles. He just wants to clinch and drag you down, which is going to be even easier for Jack to get underhooks and stuff the takedowns. You got a good guy like Jack that's just insane volume. He switches stances. He's got crisp boxing. If he chooses to switch stances and put Emeev off guard, southpaw, he can do it. Constant volume. Every time he got taken down by Lusa, he stood up and he hurt Lusa like 3 times in a row. So that's the thing. He's stealing rounds back. He might be on his back for a bit, but he gets up and he'll pour it on, right? And Lusa was just insane durability. I think Lusa's not a bad potential maybe borderline UFC fighter. He's very explosive, very young. He hits hard and he has a good jab. And he was matching Jack's output. And Jack still won unanimous. He was matching. That was a war, that fight. And he was taking down Jack. He was matching his output. He was cracking Jack. And Jack was just so much more volume, so much more output. And people say he slowed down. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to go on war like that and throw that much output and scramble, Emeev, if he does that to Emeev, he's going to 30-27 Emeev. He won't even be a close decision. Emeev's not going to meet that kind of output. All Emeev's going to do is going to try hold him down. But like I said, Jack scrambles, man. He got judo toss from the regionals, stood straight back up, got taken down by Pettigrew, straight back up, reverses him, body shot, drops him. Like he's got the urgency of, all right, I was just on my back for a bit, time to get up and time to pour on the volume. Something that someone like Roberts or these other fighters that Emeev's fought, they don't do. There's just so many advantages, and he's a young fighter, and he's had his first decision in his first fight in America against Lusa, and it was a big step up. And then he had his first fight in the UFC, and these young fighters that you can see improvements from fight to fight. Every time they do like a first decision, first fight in America, first fight in the UFC, they just get better and better. So it's a step up, but I think it's an appropriate step up, and I think he has all the advantages, maybe minus the wrestling, but he's used takedowns when he was hurt as well, so I think he can wrestle Emeev. Emeev got taken down by Zawada, which is embarrassing, and ended up in side control bottom. Yeah, at Pick'em, I think at Pick'em you have to play. Jack is just a lot more advantages there. I mean, decision's an easy H, and Emeev will just decision anyone. Jack is very, very durable. I'll be surprised if he got submitted. So yeah, I'm going to keep my action. I got $1.90. You could even play the over, right? You can play the over. Apparently the over was good. Let me just double check that. What do we got? Oh, Jesus. Why did I... that's not good. The under's good. My bad. Scrap that. You can't play the over. It's too juiced. But yeah, Jack Della, pick him for me. Odds are probably accurate now, unfortunately. I'll probably pass. But yeah. What do we got next? What do we got? Bontorin, Kape. All right, decent fight. I would love to play Kape here, but the odds are a bit out there. But the more I tape it, the deeper I go. It's like this should be Kape's fight to win. Bontorin is obviously Bontorin can get takedowns. He's a very strong and powerful man, and he's very good at backpacking. But the problem I see in this fight is, yeah, it could be close if he goes to a decision. But Bontorin is gassy. His striking is nowhere near the level of Kape. Like Kape might be low output at some points, but man, when he lets go, he's elite, right? You're talking flying knees that he actually sets up. You're talking 1-2s down the pipe, leg kicks. Like the way he systematically broke Zamagulas, that was just amazing. He had a few shots. He had a bomb. He had a bomb from Zalgas, and he just smiled. Like Zalgas can crack, man. He wobbled Molina with a shot that was nowhere near as high as that. And yeah, Bontorin can crack Kape because Kape just has his head there, and he doesn't move it, but his chin is ungodly. The problem here is I want to hit Bontorin, but Kape, the longer this fight goes, if Bontorin doesn't sub him, I just see Bontorin getting more hittable, more gassy, and just being at the mercy of Kape's combinations. Because Kape, he warms up into the fight. So round 2 and 3 is when he picks up, and then he starts to pick you apart, and that's when he knocks you out. I've seen Bontorin against Paiva. The first exchange, he stepped in the pocket. Paiva hit him with a 1-2, and Bontorin got stiff knees. He wobbled. First exchange, like 10 seconds in. Right, and then we've seen what happened with Kara France. He got off his back for a whole round, and he was just instantly gassed. And 3 times in a row, he ate the same overhand. He threw it, overhand, threw it again, overhand. I had money on him. I don't know why I played that. I couldn't get a read on the fight, but I just thought, I wasn't rating Kai back then. And I'm like, dude, you're going to get knocked out. And the third overhand knocked him out. He's just so hittable, so hittable. Even in Contender Series, he got dropped and almost finished. And Schnell was hitting him, but, Schnell, doesn't hit some of the other guys. Yeah, he's going to be hittable early, and then the more tired he gets, he's just going to be even more hittable. And then Kape's just going to expose him. He's going to expose him. I'm being a bit of a broken record, but I think, again, the live bet's probably the best bet here. We probably see Bontorin have a good first round. He's very live to get a takedown early. I don't think Kape gets subbed. I haven't seen him subbed by anyone apart from Hiraguchi, but that Sasaki fight in Ryzen, it was a big red flag, but he looked off. He didn't look like the normal Kape. He got taken down. He sprawled the first takedown, and then Sasaki turned the corner, and after Kape got up, he just looked gassed. He looked gassed, and I was like, this is weird. We've seen him go 3 rounds in the UFC multiple times now, and his cardio is fine. So, and Nicola grappled him in round 1, and I think Nicola has very good jiu-jitsu, very slick jiu-jitsu, underrated even, and he couldn't really get anything off on Kape. He had a guillotine, and Kape was composed, got out of it. Maybe Bontorin backpacks him, but I don't think he finishes him. I think Bontorin maybe has a decent round 1, odds narrow a bit, and then you hit Kape, and round 2 and 3, Kape starts to open up, starts to just pick Bontorin apart. Yeah, at $1.44, it's still too wide for me. It's still too wide, so I can't play Kape, but I can see some value. I can see some value on Bontorin. He can, even though he gasses, he didn't go for takedowns until round 3 against Schnell, kind of saving his energy, and then he just kind of locked that round down. Maybe he can do that here, have a close striking battle with Kape, and then every now and then go for a takedown and make it sweaty. But yeah, I just can't. Someone that has so many weaknesses with his striking, I can't play him. Maybe as a hedge. Again, another thing on Bet365, Kape is paying about $1.60 double chance KO decision. All right, they finally started opening up double chances on all the other fights, and they're really not accurate. I don't see Kape submitting Bontorin. So if you want to hit that, you can, but otherwise, I'll probably live bet Kape after round 1. All right, what do we got next? All right, the rematch. I really thought I was going to be on Joanna here. I was on it the first time, and in that fight, I did something I never usually do, and I live bet her as well. I double dipped when I thought when she clearly won round 3 and 4, and I thought, maybe she got 1 and 2. It's really hard to know in the middle of the fight. And I thought, Zhang is done here. She's gassed. She's definitely losing round 5. And then Zhang came back and stole round 5, and I lost both my bets. I still think Joanna won that, but hey, I don't think it's a robbery. It's whoever you think wins. It's just very, very close fight. It's one of those fights you have to watch at like half the speed to break down and see who's landing all the shots, and judges don't have that. So either way, what I noticed in that fight is Joanna, man, she was getting cracked a lot in the pocket. What she does is she throws a lot in combinations, like 3, 4, 5 punches in the end in leg kicks. And Zhang's a really good counter striker, right? So by the time Joanna has gone 1, 2, 3, 4, and throws a leg kick, Zhang's already countered her 2 strikes in. All right, so 1, 2, 3, boom. She eats a big hook, and the judges notice, the commentators notice it's the cleanest shot of the combination. Whereas she's just slapping Zhang and she's not reacting. She's not interrupting Zhang's strikes. So, I mean, I can see the same thing happening here. If Joanna fights real smart like Rose, what Rose was doing in their rematch, she was just jabbing and leg kicking, and you could see, and then Zhang tried to counter, and then Rose would jump out. And when Zhang commits to a counter, Rose would evade it, and then Rose would come in and counter her. So she was making her bite, and she was getting her counters to come out, and then she was countering the counter. If Joanna does that and just kind of leg kicks and jabs and teeps, and Whaley always wants to counter. If she gets her to counter and she can counter her, she can win this fight. I mean, either way, it's going to be a close fight in my opinion. She can be, she could be value side either way. Could potentially be picking with Zhang as a slight favorite, but Zhang can also go for takedowns. She got a couple of takedowns in their first fight, but Joanna, one of the best at getting up, didn't really get much with it. Joanna had her up against the cage a bit as well. She's good in the clinch if she can get underhooks. Yeah, it's just a tough fight to get a read on. Anyone who knows me, they've been breaking fights for years. I hate breaking down technical striking battles because it's like, one hard shot, you lose the round, and you don't know. You can just blindly bet it. It's going to be a close pick 'em striking battle, but I don't like those. I try to not blindly bet, even though there's value. or and I don't know if Joanna will come out like that. She said she was going to be a surgeon in this fight, so very technical and try to pick Zhang apart. Maybe that's a good sign. But hard to know if she will do that. Coming off 2 years, I don't take 2 years layoff too much to heart. I think it's good that she just enjoyed her life a bit, and I think she was just waiting for the title picture to clear up. She lost to Zhang, she lost to Rose twice, and now she's coming back because Carla is a champion and she gets a title shot if she beats Zhang. So I think she was just enjoying life and took a bit of a break. So I don't see that. And she said she was training every single day, so I don't see any problems with that. Some people just perform better when they've had a bit of a break. So I think it should be closer than the odds, but I don't know. For me, it's a tough fight to get a read on. All I can probably assume is it's a close striking battle, closer than the odds. But Joanna decision, probably the best bet, personally. I see some people hammering the over, saying it's juiced. Saying it still has value even though it's juiced. I don't know about that. I'm not a fan of overs or unders at minus 200 odds, or under minus 200. Just I don't see any value there. I mean, people forget how hard Zhang hits, and that there used to be some issues about Joanna's chin when Rose knocked her out, and then apparently she fixed the weight cut and she ate heaps of bombs from Zhang, and her chin ended up holding up. But I don't know, that sometimes those things come back. So I'm not really a fan of playing the overs at that price. But yeah, it's Doga pass for me. Decision for Joanna, sprinkle potentially, but yeah. Co-main event. Thought I would be on Santos here. Odds are insane. I do think that she is Valentina's best opponent in a while. I mean, just look at how she's run through all her opponents. It's kind of like what Valentina does as well, but more impressive. Talia is really very well-rounded. The main thing here is why I can't play her, even though the odds are wide, is I don't know who's better in the clinch. All right, they both want to go for body locks, and they both want to take their opponent down. Valentina's been doing that for years. I mean, she shut down Joanna with that. She shut down Andrade. People thought Andrade might have some takedown upside. She just bullied her, just manhandled her. She's taken Maya down, bullied her. Caitlin Chukagian, just fighters that have shown good takedown defense and good get-ups. She's just run through them. She took down Lee's Carmouche, stuffed all her takedowns. Carmouche was shooting from far out, and she would just wait for it, stuff it, and then she would take her down. And obviously, a wrestler, Carmouche is not good off her back. That's the problem. I see Talia Santos' takedowns are also very telegraphed. She just, in some of her fights, she just starts grabbing at air and just start like she wants to grab something, and Shevchenko's distance management is just too good. She's on her toes and she's waiting to evade, and if she's gonna be plotting and trying to grab Valentina, she's gonna be eating counter check hooks and bombs consistently, right? And Valentina's just gonna circle out, or she's gonna crack her and then get her own underhooks and reverse Santos. I know that Santos' debut against Borello was a bit of an outlier because she was crapping her pants from the nerves, and she came on strong in round 3, and she almost got a submission in round 1. But we've still seen that she can be out-grappled, right? So whether it was nerves or not, and Borello's actually, for all her flaws, being chinny, being not good, being able to get submitted, she's a good wrestler for a female. Borello that was her game plan: come in and wrestle you. She had good top game. But yeah, that's the thing. Shevchenko has to be better than Borello, right? And can Santos do what she's done to others to Shevchenko? Like, just pretty much, I know she's a striker, but that's become her game now. Just body lock and take down and crucifix. There to Joanna as well. Luckily, Joanna got out of the crucifix. Can she do that and win? And if not, then she's not winning a stand-up fight, because she's just her hooks are winging and her entries into the body lock are just not good, not fast enough. So yeah, unfortunately, even though it's wide, I just don't see Santos. I mean, I don't know if she's better at the body hook, at the body lock takedowns, but so far we haven't seen anyone outmuscle Valentina. And even Maya, the one round Maya got, it was from Valentina engaging the takedowns, the clinch, and then Maya reversed it, and then she just waited and waited and waited. She couldn't take it down for a bit, and then she got the strip and got on top and just stayed on top. And you could see she tried with all her might, I have to solidify this round. And after that, she couldn't get another takedown. So this is a 5-round fight. If Tyler Santos gets 1 or 2, Shevchenko will address that, and then she'll pick her up a distance. And then it's a 5-round fight. That's the problem for me. The play that I do have is the over 2.5. It's -200. I mean, I think the only way this fight finishes is if Valentina gets a crucifix. Right? And I think Santos, from what I've seen, or I'm hoping, Santos might be a type of fighter that's not going to get instantly finished by a crucifix. But I mean, man, we've seen a good black belt like Andrade fall to it. That's whenever you bet these over-unders, it seems to be the only danger of an early finish is the crucifix from Valentina. Took her forever to knock out Lauren Murphy. And even Chukagian, she pulled guard in that 3rd round and got crucifixed. I was like, oh my god, that was like 2.5 minutes away from going over. So yeah, that's the only play. I think if you do think Tyler's going to put up the biggest fight, then it's probably going to be a close fight, and she probably doesn't get finished by a crucifix. And she seems to have a really good jiu-jitsu base. I mean, and she's physical too. So yeah, other than that, I mean, probably just have a unit on that. I don't want to risk too much on this fight. But yeah, other than that, I don't see many plays. If Tyler Santos does better than expected, then you might have good odds for live. When Maya won that 2nd round, we finally got some decent odds on Valentina. I remember everyone hammering that live, so you can potentially do that. Main event, all right. Best fight of this card. Honestly, this pay-per-view is pretty underwhelming considering it's a pay-per-view, but at least we get to finish the card off with a bang. Very, very volatile fight, this one. I mean, I could literally see an avenue for any play. Right, I'll take this first. I went in deep. Glover. There's a reason people tap as soon as they end up on the bottom of Glover. His pressure, his strength, his rear naked choke is next level. His passing is amazing. His wrestling's not that great in the open. A lot of people can stuff it, but when he gets you against the cage and he locks his hands, you're going for a ride. You can take anyone down. All right. I hit him small against Jan, and I mostly did that just because of his boxing, and I thought it might be a close striking battle, but I didn't Jan has good takedown defense, especially against the cage, and just the way Glover locked his hands and just slammed him, I was like, oh wow, I've definitely won my money here. But I was just surprised at how easy that was. So you can definitely do it against someone like Jiri, he gives up takedowns because he's too focused at doing crazy shit. Right? darting in with lots of volume and long punches. But yeah, I can see Glover submitting him as soon as he goes down to the ground. I can see Jiri knocking him out. I can see Jiri landing a flying knee. He's been looking for that flying knee in the UFC. He hasn't landed it yet, but he's been hitting a lot of people on regionals. And if Glover's gonna bend at the waist in the middle of the octagon, man, he's gonna get knocked. I could see a flying knee, clean KO. I've seen Jiri do stupid shit on the ground, like give up his neck in Rising, but you would think he's improved. He's hittable too. Glover has one punch KO power, but he's just, like I said, I can see an avenue for both fighters, and in that case, you probably want to play the dog, but I don't want to put my money in such a volatile fight when I have the under here for about 3 units, and it's the only play on that, one of the only more confident plays on the card for me. So you just play the under, and 2.5. I thought I was being relatively safe. 3.5 is just too juiced. I'm not the type of guy that parlays over unders. I think 2.5. I mean, how many fights have gone over 2.5? Krylov against Glover. He's got really good jiu-jitsu. He almost submitted Glover with a rear naked. Jiri, I mean, if he goes to that scrambling jiu-jitsu fight, I can see Glover eventually taking over and submitting Jiri. I mean, Reyes showed an ungodly chin, and that almost went into round 3. But it's just the pressure that Jiri puts on, the pressure that Glover puts on. He puts pressure so he can corral you against the cage. I just see it like, if I lose 3 units because this fight ends over 2.5 rounds, so be it. It's going to be a rare occurrence in my head. It's kind of like the Gaethje Oliveira fight. So I've got 3 units on this volatile fight. You don't want to overcomplicate it. Sure, if you feel like playing the dog, I don't hate it. Glover's been a money train as a dog. If you're gonna play Jiri, you got to play KO. He's literally 95% KO. He's got 1 decision out of 20-something fights, and he's got 5 rounds to KO Glover here. If he doesn't knock him out by round 3 or 4, then at that point you can just assume that Glover's wearing on him and he's going to finish him instead of Jiri anyway. So yeah, biggest play of the card is the under there. Hopefully it hits, otherwise probably going to ruin my night. But it's going to be one of those fights. If it doesn't hit, then it's whatever. I still see some value at -200. I think it should be like valued as the same as the 3.5. So happy to let that ride. That and Jack Della's pretty much my only money lines. Maybe check $100 on Malkoun decision against a flaky Allen and add more live. Other than that, surprisingly not many plays. I was kind of disappointed. I saw everyone on Twitter and everyone online saying amazing card for betting. Obviously, they're all hitting dogs like Kang and Mathews, but yeah, I personally can't do it. I think those fights are line accurate, and it's a favorite to pass. Most likely pass for me. But yeah, thank you for listening. Just under an hour, not bad. Hopefully I was a bit more energetic compared to last week when I just finished training. Fimbul will be back next week. We're going to smash out some PFL, some Bellator, some UFC. So should be good, and thank you for tuning in.